What's up, the world? This is your boy Tyler Nab. I just came in because I wanted to talk real quick about the Warriors Lakers game too. Once again, I stated before, I figured that the Warriors have a championship pedigree. I figured they'd come out and they're gonna throw a punch. You know what I mean? They're not just gonna roll over and die. This is a championship pedigree team that has played a long time. They're not just gonna fold. Does this inevitably change my outcome on what I saw? I mean, what I predicted? No. I predicted it go to 5 to 6 games. And the reason why is because the things that they did last night were more so. Okay, one thing you gotta know about the Warriors is they're front runners. Meaning, once they get a lead, they can just start going bombs away, right? And they're good 3-point shooters. So for the most part, if they just start going bombs away, then the analytics kick in, and every 3 or 4, as long as they hit, a 3 every 2 or 3 possessions, it's hard to run them down when they're just hoisting up threes left and right. Now, obviously, when the game is 79-79, a lot of those shots they wouldn't have shot. They would have tried to get a better shot. But when the game is like that, where they got a 10, 13-point cushion, they're just going to start going bombs away and just start shooting it up. Now, this has come back to haunt them and hurt them in some games, because they'll start going bombs away, and then it's a 3-point shot, so it's not going down. And now they almost did it in the third quarter, at the middle. I think it was the middle of the third quarter, where the Lakers got it down to around 4, and then they start shooting and bombs, and then that freaking Shrek looking Tony Brothers. I cannot stand that guy. Every single time I see his little muscle head on any Lakers game, any game where I know the NBA wants this team to lose, I know the fix is in. I can't, people don't understand. I cannot watch a game with Tony Brothers in it. I know he's generally there for the fix. He's generally always the person where people are like, where did that call for come from? That dude is just literally there to make sure the right team wins. It was a stat that I read that said that the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, have never lost a game with him refereeing, and they chose him for this game, this pivotal game too, and the Warriors knew it. I mean, they were fouling the hell out of the Lakers. There's no way in the world these guys. I'm watching every single time that Anthony Davis goes up for a rebound, Draymond is sliding underneath him. Draymond is sliding. You cannot do that. And he was doing it the entire freaking game. Every time AD went up for a rebound, he would stand there and not give him I just, like I said, it drove me crazy. So you combine the fact that they're going to get a lead. When Tony Brothers out there, he's not calling a dang thing for the Lakers. And every single time he tried to go the Lakers did not got one. As much as they attacked the rim, and as much as they attacked the Warriors' depth with no big man in there, no rim protector, they gave them every benefit of the doubt, and they gave the Lakers none. Almost every single time the benefit of the doubt was on the Lakers, they called the foul. When the benefit of the doubt was on the Warriors, they let it play. And it killed them at the beginning of that game. Because the Lakers couldn't, when you're going by 2s, and the Warriors are going by 3s, it's going to start to mount up after a while if you're not getting fouls. That means they got players that stay on the floor that shouldn't be on the floor. They were able to play JaMychal Green as long as they did because Draymond Green was allowed to stay in without getting fouled. And he was fouling the hell out of Anthony Davis. He is not, the fact that this man, every single time Anthony Davis tried to attack the rim, this man literally just pushed him back. If he went right, Draymond stepped and pushed him. If he went left, Draymond stepped and pushed him. And Draymond is a very smart player. He knew Tony Brothers was there, and Tony Brothers allowed that man to get away with murder last night. And I'm not trying to say that's the only reason why the Warriors won. What I'm saying in that situation is that it benefited that a referee should never be the reason why a game is tilted in a competitive favor. And I felt like last night the game was tilted in a competitive favor for the Warriors because they're a smaller team who cannot really guard the paint. And then you allowed them to keep a guy on the field who's a stretch five. And the reason why people don't like to keep a stretch five on the field on the court is because they know that people are going to go to the rim. But the Lakers couldn't go to the rim because they were getting fouled, and they weren't and that little Shrek muscle-headed bastard Tony Brothers refused to call the fouls. And you sitting out there watching like, bro, you are going to every time I saw LeBron or Schroeder or any of those guys going to the rim, and they're just going sideways. You're seeing their body changing direction. You're seeing these people affecting their shots. And they kept playing on. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, what is going on? I was like, man, this is weird. I was like, that was an obvious foul. Like, I mean, last game that would have been called. Then I saw his little muscle head. I'm sitting there. I was like, who is the rep? And then I saw him. I was like, oh, he's the ref. I was like, why they always put him on these games where the Lakers need wins or whatever? He's always there. It's weird. And you like, why is he here again? And that's when you know the fix is in. This is why people have so much. People feel the NBA, the referees are giving way too much leniency to control games, especially when people are betting their money on these games. When I'm sitting there betting my money on a game, and I got a referee that's calling suspect as hell. He has a track record. I mean, you can literally look at their track records with Foster and him, and look at their track record and see that they have a track record of being harsher and calling more foul. This man called a 3-point foul on LeBron for half court, where he was behind and LeBron was fading away from him. There's no way in the world Tony Brothers from the middle of the court could have known for sure that LeBron fouled that guy in the corner. He couldn't have known that. And Jeff Van Gundy sent up, that's what, well, that was an obvious foul. It was not an obvious foul. When the ball had left that guy's hand long before LeBron ever touched him. It was about 5 seconds in between the time that man let that ball go and when LeBron hit him. And he was intentionally falling into LeBron, trying to get contact. LeBron did not initiate contact. LeBron was trying to go away from him. The guy was jumping into LeBron. So why that ended up being a foul? Because that idiot Shrek-looking Tony Brothers called from the middle of the court. He's, like I said, the guy is a weirdo. And I don't know if he has a problem with LeBron or if he's one of these guys who's conservative and maybe he doesn't like LeBron. I don't know anything about Tony Brothers. Or maybe the NBA just needs him and say, go ahead and do what you do. You tend to just call random calls. You have a good track record of officiating, the way we want you to, especially when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. The way that they play, you allow them to play, so we're going to put you over them. It was weird. They clearly wanted the Golden State Warriors to win the game too, and that was weird. Because he's moving around, they're moving around these plays, and you watching it like, this is weird. And I didn't even know he was the referee at first until I saw him come call a foul from the middle, from coming from the back. I was like, that's why. Him and that other little dude that messed him up against Boston, he was there too. What's it, 42 or whatever his name is? I don't know his name. Him. He was there. I don't know if anybody caught that, but that's the same dude that missed the foul call that cost them the game in Boston. He was on the line. He was on the baseline. Little weirdo looking dude. He was the one that cost them the foul against the Boston Celtics. He was there, and I'm like, okay, so clearly either they like they like the way they officiate the Lakers and the Warriors. And so they were like, game one, it kind of got out of control. So game two, we're going to try to put in some people we know officiate, have a track record. But it's just nowhere in the world you look at their track record and be like, yeah, this is going to be fair to put those two guys. But yeah, that's just weird. It was weird, and I knew it was weird when I saw that little Shrek-looking dude on the baseline. But I'm not giving. That's not the whole reason why they beat the Warriors. I just don't know what the game would have been had it not been for those idiots. And you sitting up there watching the game, and like I said, possession after possession is being lost because the Warriors are allowed to be are being allowed to be physical with the Lakers. The Lakers are not allowed to be. And these screens, they got called in the last game for about 3 or 4 moving screens. That's what they got called for. And Draymond Green got in foul trouble because of those moving screens. You watch this game, they were moving almost every single. It's hard to stay with the Warriors because they do a lot of moving screens, and some of them are illegal screens. I've seen Draymond Green literally see somebody come and step out in front of them. That is an illegal screen. You cannot do that. But Draymond does that all the time. Where Steph will cut and he'll step out, and you're not supposed to step. You're not allowed to screen. A person can run into you, but that's generally because you have to be moving towards a place. You can't just step out in front of somebody and not get called for foul. They started calling them, but this is what they do, and this is why I tell people you got to watch the NBA closely. What ends up happening a lot of times is they'll call a bunch of bogus calls when the game is close. Then when the game gets out of hand, they'll start calling a bunch of BS calls that don't mean anything so that they can even it out on the sheet. As I said before, I'm not saying that this is the reason why the Warriors won. Don't get me wrong. The Warriors played a good game. They had a good plan. They switched it up. People talk about Jermichael Green in the starting lineup. Once again, do I think when they are different people than those little Shrek cats play guarding this series, if that's going to change that situation is going to change 100%. Jermichael Green is not going to be able to stay in the game with no Anthony Davis and LeBron when he's forced to guard them. Okay, he can't protect the rim. They have no rim protection, and what killed them at the beginning, Anthony Davis couldn't hit a shot. And this is the problem I have when you play Anthony Davis these extended minutes. He has a slow turnover. He has a slow recovery. So people are like, well, why does he play great in one game? Because if he plays really great, that generally means he exerts a lot of energy. And generally, he's not good at recovering. He doesn't play well when he plays good because he doesn't have a quick turnaround. Meaning if his legs, you can see towards the end of game one, his legs were not under him. And he started out game two just like he ended game one. His legs weren't under him. He kept shooting. The ball kept falling short because he's not getting lift. And he's not getting any lift because you can tell his body is not recovered from the exertion he put out in game one. And so it allowed the Warriors to play up until like the second half. They had to pull him out. They pulled AD out, and then the Warriors, when they pulled AD out, they had I think a 8.9 point lead, and then they pulled Anthony Davis out, and the Warriors Clay got like 3 threes. And cut it down till they had a 1-point lead. When they had that 1-point lead, then the fouls started. They started calling all these fouls on the Lakers, and then it allowed the Warriors to get 2 or 3 of them were just phantom calls. I mean, even after the replays, like what was that? But they were calling a lot of phantom calls, and it allowed the Warriors to get up to about 10. The Lakers got it back down, and then they closed it out. The Warriors closed it out with some foul calls, which put them up by 14. Put them up I think by 10 at halftime. So 10 or 11 at halftime, and it was mostly because of the foul calls. But once they got the lead, they started calling all the fouls on the Lakers. And once they start calling all those fouls on the Lakers, the Warriors were able to extend that lead. Clay hit about 2 threes, and they got like 4 foul calls, and it jumped up to the point that the Lakers ended up with a cushion. Came out the second quarter. Once again, the Lakers got it down to I think about 4, and once again the fouls. He started calling Tony, that little Shrek, started calling fouls again, and he started calling fouls on the Lakers. On the Lakers, but he was not calling fouls on the Warriors. So the Warriors were going down. They were running illegal screens. They were running picks. They were pushing people. They were boxing people. Boxing people in their backs as they're going up for rebounds. They were doing all this stuff, and they were getting away with it because he wasn't calling anything on them. LeBron them going to the rim, clear contact, not getting calls. To me, it just comes down to a lot of times who you got reffing the game. And if the ref does not want to call those calls, it's going to get ugly because they already got a 10-point lead. They got a 10-point lead. The Lakers got it down to about 4, and then they get that through their foul calls. It got up to around 8 again, and then they just start going bombs away again. Then it jumped to 11, and the 14, and the 17, and by the time when it got there, now they're just bombs away. The Warriors are just gonna get the ball and just chunk it. They're just gonna be shooting, and you got high percentage shooters there. For 3, and you got high percentage shooters there, and even if they miss 2 out of every 3, if they hit 1, that's 2 possessions that you gotta recover from. So it's backbreaking when you're there and you're going 2, 6, and then they hit a 3. You go 2, 2, 2, then they hit a 3. You know what I mean? Or they hit back-to-back 3s. If they hit back-to-back 3s, they just wipe all the progression you made out. And that can be deterring when you got guys just chunking up 3s. Now, like I said, when you watch probably the first through the second, and then probably a part of the third, the Lakers are clearly still a better team. Anthony Davis just was not on, and when Anthony Davis wasn't on in that game, and it had nothing to do with the Warriors, Anthony Davis was just missing bunnies. He was not playing with the same energy he played in game 1, and I told you that. The Lakers have a tendency to arrogantly walk through games. And I said that can easily happen where the Lakers just arrogantly walk through the game. And that's kind of what happened in that game. They just weren't, they couldn't hit a shot. And LeBron was on, but nobody else really seemed to be on. Reeves was on. But now they're going home. I think the Warriors will win the next 2, and then I think they'll either close it out in Golden State, or they'll come back and close it out. But I think the Lakers will win the next 2 because they're not going to get away with calls like that, or they shouldn't. The NBA should pull it out. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that they're not, because I think the NBA makes a concerted effort not to totally affect the outcome. They try to make sure that the series is extended, but I don't think they necessarily try to make it so the right team doesn't win. So I think in the long run, the Lakers will probably get a favorable referee for them in game 3 and 4, and then they'll probably have Tony, the little Shrek, back for game 5, and the Lakers are just going to have to make their shots. If they make their shots, he can't affect the game. But in the minute that it stays close, that little Shrek dude is going to come in and he's going to do what he does. So all I'm trying to say is that if you watch those games, the Lakers are clearly out of the advantage. They were missing point-blank shots. They just looked like they didn't have their feet under them, and that's understandable. They just seemed like they were kind of coasting through that game. The only one who seemed like they were ready, they were really on their game was LeBron. And this is the double-edged sword you get when LeBron plays well. When LeBron plays well, there's this tendency to just stand and watch. I noticed that. LeBron tries to play the same way, but when his shot is falling, everybody else seems to just kind of get out of the way and say, let LeBron do his thing. And then when LeBron goes to the bench, it's like they don't know what to do anymore, and it just starts to get convoluted. Austin Reeves has got to play better than he played in that last game. He was not very good in that game. Rui played really well, but like I said, the calls the fouls they were calling, it swung the game, and I don't think that's the reason why the Warriors won. I just don't know what the outcome would have been had it not been an obvious. It hadn't been an obvious Warrior heavy ref game. It just seemed like they refed their game specifically for the advantage of the Warriors. Like I said, those illegal screens they were doing with Clay was crazy. I mean, like at some point you got to realize this is not football. The guy can't be stepping in front of people when they're trying to go around. Either he has to already be in that position when the person is coming. Too often you see Draymond Green see the people run, and as soon as he sees his player coming, he will step out in front of the player, which is a moving screen. You cannot do that. And he does it all the time and gets away with it. And he didn't get away with it in game 1. But in game 2, he was getting away with it left and right. And not just him, they all were doing it. They got called for a couple at the end of the game. But when the game was in tow and it was mattering, they were not calling them fouls. They only started calling those moving screens at the end of the game. So I thought the refereeing had a lot to do with it, but I'm not going to say it's the reason the Warriors won. But I'm just saying you just don't know what the game would have been had they not been calling it so obviously for the Warriors. And what the Warriors did, I thought was a good adjustment. They put the ball in Steph's hand. Yes, what Mark Jackson said was true. They kept the ball in Steph's hands. But what really was the smart thing they did was they had Draymond roll into the basket. If you watch the other games, I guess they assumed that Draymond wasn't going to get no points over Anthony Davis anyways. So the mindset was, hey, let's just keep Draymond Green on the high pick and roll so Steph can come back around. Then they kept passing to Draymond Green out on the perimeter, and nobody's gonna respect Draymond Green out there. So they switched it up. Draymond Green started going not to the rim, but he started rolling to the foul line. Once he rolled to the foul line, he waited until Anthony Davis came out to contest, and then he came underneath, and they passed it underneath. Obviously, Vanderbilt comes over to help, and they kept passing it. They kept making the extra pass. If they closed down the shooter, they made the extra pass, and now you got a wide open three. What the Lakers have to do in that scenario is, one, I've said this 1,000 times, AD cannot be the person closing out on damn 3-point shots. He cannot be that guy. He's the protector of the rim. You cannot have him protecting the rim and closing out on a 3-point shot and then blame him when he's not playing good on offense. AD is a great player, but he cannot be doing that. That is not his job. There was a couple plays on there, and I'll say this because I'm just honest and unbiased assessor. LeBron cannot be. If you're gonna be going to give the energy on offense, you can't be phoning it in on defense. There's a couple plays where Anthony Davis, they made the rotation. LeBron just did not rotate, and the guy just runs by it. And I'm sitting there thinking about LeBron. If you're gonna go and put your energy towards the offense, that's fine. But you can't be phoning it in on defense. And it seemed like LeBron phoned it in sometimes. Like, what the hell is LeBron doing? That was your rotation. Like, he was not rotating. And I think it happened like 4 or 5 times where I was looking at it like, that's LeBron's rotation. When I was saying that Draymond Green gets the ball, that was LeBron's guy. That's JaMychal Green. Like, at that point, Anthony Davis closed out. You're supposed to rotate. That's supposed to be your guy. But LeBron wasn't rotating. Anthony Davis would come out and cut the guy off. LeBron would just stand there, and the other guy would come low. So when Vanderbilt came over to help on Draymond Green, his guy JaMychal Green, because he's ball watching, JaMychal Green kept coming low. and LeBron wasn't there in front of him in the box out because he didn't rotate, and Jermichael Green kept getting balls at the rim. And it's like it's great. That's why I look at it, and you look at the tweets. You know, LeBron played great, AD played bad. Well, switching around. On defense, AD played good, LeBron played bad. So it just blows me. People only focus on offense. They don't focus on defense. And because LeBron was shooting well, it was like, oh, well, LeBron played well. No, he actually didn't. Defensively, he did not play well. He was not getting on his rotate. He was not rotating. He was killing them defensively yesterday. And to me, the Lakers are not an offensive-minded team. They're a defensive-minded team. They win through defense, and when LeBron, and that takes LeBron being locked in, which I think he will be in the next game. But he was missing so many rotations, and Jermichael Green was going crazy. He was not rotating to the corner. He was just letting Jermichael Green shoot that three all the time. That's your man. You got to rotate out to him. And Jermichael Green's getting layup threes. He's just standing there in the corner. The corner three is the shortest three to take, and you got to rotate to the corner. And LeBron didn't rotate, and this guy's just standing there, whop, 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 over and over again. I'll see if you're the person chasing out the Clay. That makes sense. But you're not. LeBron is not the one chasing out the Clay and Steph. He's the one standing over there supposed to be on Jermichael Green. The person that's giving them the least contesting when it comes to scoring. But if you're gonna fall asleep you have the easiest assignment on defense, and you falling asleep, you're going to screw the team over. And I'm not blaming LeBron for the loss. I'm not. I'm just saying that he asserted the energy on offense, and he lost focus on defense. So, yeah, he was an A+ offensively. He was a C- defensively. And Jermichael Green killed them on some of those threes when LeBron didn't rotate. And that's just me. I love LeBron, but I'm going to tell it how it is, and that's the truth. LeBron was not rotating. And he was killing them. And once again, that may be a byproduct of the fact that LeBron, they subbed him really quick in the first quarter. If you notice that. They got him out, and he didn't get in again until like a couple minutes left. They were both of them looked, him and Anthony Davis just did not look. You could tell on defense LeBron was gassed, and you could tell on offense AD was gassed. They just didn't do it. Austin Reeves, I mean, yeah, to me it seemed like running after the Warriors in that game one, they came out game two and they were gassed. And the Warriors were still running, doing those illegal screens and all that stuff that they do, and they weren't getting the calls, and the frustration starts to mount because their shots are not falling, because they're shooting, they're hitting in front of the rim because they got dead legs, and the Warriors are just rising to the occasion. They're just moving around, they're moving around, passing the ball. That's what they do. They're gonna make the extra pass. They're gonna do what they gotta do because they know you have to respect their 3-point shooting with Clay and Steph. And so, if you start forming in and you start collapsing, they're gonna make the extra pass. And when they make the extra pass, it's gonna be backbreaking. But that being said, it's a fairly easy adjustment to make. Anthony Davis can't be the one closing out on these threes. It's very simple. Okay? Vanderbilt has got to stay on Steph. When he has the ball, if Steph gets by you, let him get by you, but do not collapse. You know what I'm saying? To the point that you coming off with 3-point shooters to help out. They would get the Warriors were getting layups. I mean, these are layups for a good 3-point shooting team. You're just leaving them standing wide open at thing because y'all collapsing like Steph's gonna really win in the paint against AD. Let him go close out. You don't need to help AD with Steph. It's like if Steph is not somebody who plays above the rim. He plays below the rim, and below the rim players don't do well against Anthony Davis. Just let AD handle it. They helping off of their players to help AD when AD doesn't need their help. Stay on your player. Stay to the body of Klay. Stay to the body of Steph. Stay to the body of JaMychal Green. Stop getting caught ball watching and trying to help on defense when it's not needed. The only one that did a good job of not doing that was D'Angelo Russell. All the rest of them kept doing it. And that's because D'Angelo Russell and LeBron weren't the ones chasing people off screens. But if you're going to not be the ones chasing people off the screen, then you got to stay to your man. You can't be letting JaMychal Green get unboxed out dunks where he's rolling to the basket. This happened several times. LeBron's double teaming freaking Draymond Green. Why are we double teaming Draymond Green against Anthony Davis? He's not going to win that matchup. LeBron steps to double him, leads JaMychal Green with the outlet pass. 2-3 times this happened, where JaMychal Green's coming running across because they're doubling on Draymond. It just seemed like they were just out of it. It's like, let Draymond gonna make his plays, let him make his plays. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna trust Draymond. I want Draymond to have the ball more than I want Steph to have it. And if Steph gives that ball up, he should not be able to get it back. And if Draymond got the ball, he should be the one that ends up shooting. He made one mid-range shot, and it's like they thought he's Paul Pierce. It's like, let him get that shot. 9 out of 10 times, he's going to miss it. They kept closing out on him at the free throw line like he was Paul Pierce. It's like, let him shoot it. But like I said, I'm not worried. Overall, I think it's a fairly easy adjustment to make defensively. They kind of caught him off guard because Looney didn't start because he was kind of sick, and they started JaMychal Green. Well, maybe they'll do that again. Well, that won't work if they do it again, because if they do it again, the Warriors. It's like when what's his name? When Tillman for the Memphis Grizzlies, he stepped in and he kind of threw the Lakers off a little bit because. Yeah, when you're not preparing for something and someone throws a wrinkle in that you weren't expecting, now you have to make that adjustment. Next time, they're gonna let JaMychal Green is not gonna win the Warriors this series. All they're gonna do is say, okay, close out on JaMychal Green, don't give him wide open threes, but for the most part, make the priority stopping Klay and Steph. Okay. Klay, do I think Klay is going to shoot 77% on threes again? Probably not. Especially what they're going to do, and they're going to make him work on defense. They're going to start making him work. They're going to start putting him on that post, and they're going to start making Klay work on defense so that his shot, so that he doesn't have as much energy on offense to be running around all these screens. They're going to do this. And they're gonna punish him, and they're gonna put LeBron in the box. They're gonna be throwing the ball to LeBron with Klay. They're gonna try to get Klay in isolation in the box, and they're gonna keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, tiring him out so his shots are not falling. And then they're gonna turn around and let JaMychal Green shoot. And if you think JaMychal Green is going to somehow change the future of the Warriors, you're gonna be in trouble. They're gonna say, okay, just watch him. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to stay. You don't have to. If we're going to let anybody beat us, we're going to help off JaMychal Green. And if we help off JaMychal Green, we got to know how to close back out. We can't be helping off them when we don't have to, but help off of them when we get the opportunity to. When Draymond Green has the ball or something like that. You know, help off the screens and stuff like that. And I think in the long run, the Lakers are gonna win the series. I'm not, like I said, last night game. Just like I said, the game got the foul calling caused a rift and the way that they were doing things, and then it was just the Warriors just started bombing, just bombs away. And once they went in the bombs away mode, it was just done. You know, once the Warriors are front runners. When they get a lead, they just start chunking up threes. And once they start chunking up threes, they have good 3-point shooters. And if they're on, you can call it a night. Now, it's games when they're not on and they start bombing away and they lose, you know, they'll lose a 10-point lead, you know, because you miss a three and the guy comes down and scores. He misses a three, somebody scores. And before you know it, a 16-point lead is down to 6. And I've seen this with the Warriors, where they just start, then now they're in trouble and they try to go back to trying to attack the rim and they don't really do that well. And now, before you know it, they're down by 10. You know, it's just how the Warriors play. But that aside, please comment, thumbs it up if you like it, and if you're not subscribed, please take the time to subscribe, and hit that notification so you get my videos as soon as they come out. All right, y'all. Peace.